for things to change, we need to change. eBay has changed and we need to catch on. We can't stay within our old ways, and we have to actually upgrade ourselves and actually be humble and change to the algorithm. Now, people that have been doing eBay for many, many years, it's going to be harder for them because they don't necessarily want to change, but change is a constant within life, and we have to adapt. We have to become better, right? So for things to change, we have to change. And that is always a constant within life. And I've only been doing this for 11 months, right? And I'm doing about $10,000 gross sales. My top month was $12,000, and that's really nothing. And my goal is a lot more. I'm not saying that I am the authority within eBay. Yes, I've done business for the last 5 years of my life. I've built very successful businesses outside of eBay, over 6 figures. And eBay is an awesome opportunity because it's really controllable, right? It's really performance based. And I think that's why we all do it, is because like we get out what we put in, right? And I think with this new change, it's a little bit different because we could put in a lot, but we may not see the results. And so in this video, I really want to talk about some really key enhancements that we can make to our business. Now, when I first started eBay, I obviously didn't know what I was doing. I would get simple brands like Adidas and Nikes, just like the lowest end brands of that brand, like just very low tier or mid tier items. I'd fill up my store with very low to mid tier items just because I was first starting, right? Like I was like, oh my gosh, I found Polo Ralph Lauren, and I put it in my store, and it's just like there's like 50,000 blue Polo Ralph Lauren's with like the red pony, right? So as we become more adept within eBay, we get to figure out like different higher end brands like Madres, Plaid, Polo Ralph Lauren, for instance, or like the Brazil or like Italy or the big pony, right? So there's levels to eBay. There's levels to sourcing, right? And so I think where eBay is going towards is basically becoming a better sourcer. So I know a lot of people like hire out their sourcing, and I think that's pretty smart because you buy time, and because it can take a while to really source higher ASP items. And I think that's really where eBay is going. It's pretty much where everyone's kind of going, right? So we want to kind of source higher ASP items, and we want to spend longer finding higher quality items. I think that the volume model is kind of gone, right? So eBay is changing, and they're a business, right? So they want to make more money, and so they're going to want to promote higher ASP items. They want to make more of a percentage off of that higher ASP item, average sales price, right? And so when I first started, I was just specifically getting, like Morona and like all the crappy brands, right? Like all the lower tier brands. It's where most people start off, right? They just go to the bins or the Goodwill. They just go to like a Goodwill and they'll just get like Polo Ralph Lauren, just basic medium shirts, and it's just not going to sell for high ASP, obviously. And so, it's crazy because like you go in super confident, you think you're going to, rule the world, you think you're going to make a lot of money your first month, your first 2 months, and then you figure out real quick that those items don't necessarily sell. And you figure out real quick that you need to start studying and becoming more proficient with the brands that you put into your store. And so basically where I see eBay going is like, we need to go more towards a higher ASP business model. And I think that we all know that. It's very obvious. And like when I'm like looking at my eBay page and I see like where I can send offers, it's always like higher end items, right? So my main prerogative when it comes to eBay is only sourcing higher end items. So my current strategy, I know some of you will probably go to like the thrifts and you'll get like high ASP items within the thrifts. That's great. If you can do that, that's awesome. I actually did that recently at Wyoming. I got like Harley Davidson, Prana, Cole, Brioni. I got a bunch of really good brands like at a very really, really small town, like 900 people in Wyoming, DuBois, Wyoming, which is like, I think is less than like 2,000 people in that area. And I went to that thrift store and I actually did the thrift model because I'm usually a bins guy, right? And so I did the thrift model. I think the average sales price was probably around like $5 to $6, but I was finding really good items. Like I said, Prana and Cole, Chico's, like New Tags, Eileen Fisher, those types of brands, right? And I spent like $5 to $6, and I'm getting like 30 to 40 ASP, which is a really good business model. So that thrift model really, really works. You just have to really make sure you find good brands that actually sell for high ASP. What I'm doing right now, if you guys know where I'm at, it's $3.20 per pound at the bins that I go to. If you haven't really seen my channel, you can probably figure out where I'm at. It's not Texas. And even though Texas is probably awesome, like the bins there, you guys can probably figure it out. If you know my channel, you know where I source at. I don't really want to talk about where I source at because I don't want it to be saturated. And like doing YouTube is kind of weird because like you're kind of like giving advice to your competition. And so my main like priority with this channel is like helping you guys out and really getting you guys to that next level. And I honestly don't really hold back, but I don't necessarily want to talk about where I go specifically just because I know people there and they may be mad if I like tell you guys where it is exactly. But you guys can probably figure it out. Like the Hollywood sign's right there. And so I go to the bins and yeah, the price is like $3.19 currently. And so what I do is I basically go to the bins every single day, and it's an everyday thing. So when I first started, I would maybe source like 1 to 3 times per week. When you really become a professional and when you really become like a master at your craft, you're going to have to go every single day because like my current strategy right now is 20 items per day. And so that's all I care about is just 20 items per day. That's it. I don't care how long it takes. It could take, an hour. Sometimes I find 20 very solid gold items within an hour. It's very rare, but sometimes I find that. Sometimes it takes 5 to 6 hours at that bins. They rotate every 20 minutes. So you kind of get like, it's kind of like garage sales it's like garage sales, right? And they roll out new bins every 20 minutes and you just go through it and you sort like crazy and you find really good items like Cole, like Buck Mason, John Varvatos. You find really good items at the bins, and like I find a lot of high tier, high ASP items. If you guys want to figure out what I'm sourcing, I actually just made a video yesterday basically going over my newly listed items. So I actually do a screen share on my YouTube channel and I go over all of my newly listed items, what I'm sourcing at real time. That way you guys can basically figure out what I'm sourcing there. And so here's the sauce right now. eBay has changed. The volume business model where you're getting simple shirts like H&M, Morona, George, like all the lower tier brands, that's really not going to fly anymore unless you want like $1 to $3 profit. It's not the best ever, right? So really what we want to do is really source higher end items. For instance, Buck Mason, Rourke, it goes on and on and on, right? So like Cole, Prana, I mean, I don't really want to give too many out. You guys can subscribe, watch my channel if you want to really figure out what brands I'm sourcing. But you guys, if you're a subscriber, you already know like the brands that I'm already sourcing. And like, you need to just stay longer And so like what I do is like I'll go into the bins and I'll bring my little like blue bag, and basically like I'll just like there's a bunch of vintage people. They probably I'm not sure how much they make. They probably make like full-time income, and they don't really like look through the items too well. They just kind of like, I don't know. I don't really understand their business strategy, but like they probably do pretty well. They probably do pretty good. However, like with me, like I will really investigate and like go through all the items, and I will try to find like the highest ASP items. Like for instance, like REI Co-op, Cole, Prana, Eileen Fisher, Tory Burch. Like I'll go through women's and men's clothing, and I will just sort through like pretty much all day, and I'll basically get all the items that people pass up on. And like people pass up on really good gold tier items like all the time. And basically my prerogative is just to look through everything and try to get at least 20 gold items per day and list it on eBay. And then I also have like a little hat business right here where I try to source like the best 10 hats that I can find at the bins per day. There's probably like, I don't know, like 1,000 hats within like scattered within the bins and like within the shoes. So I'll try to get like the best 10 hats that I can get, and I'll get the best 20 clothing items that I can find. So like when I first started, I would probably get like 30 to 40 just like items, like I don't know, just simple Nike and Adidas and Polo Ralph Lauren, like simple things. But now I'm really focused on just the best items within those brands, and that's really my main focus. So I think that's really what we need to focus on. And if that's something you guys are interested in, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, because I go over at real time what I'm sourcing, my thrift hauls, what's selling, all that stuff. So if that's something you guys are interested in, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you smash the like button. We'll see you guys very soon. I'm fired up because summer slowdown is over and it's time to dominate. It's time to dominate the sector. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace. Peace. Are you guys making money? I hope you are.